Hello guys, and welcome back to Joe's Ventures. And today we're doing another month, so it's another Dev Diary for Prehistoric Kingdom. And this is actually going to be the last one of the year, since December's in that holiday period. So yeah, this is going to be the last video for Prehistoric Kingdom for a little bit, which is a little bit tragic, but that's fine. We've got a lot to cover today though, so I'm quite excited to get stuck into it. So let's start as well. So here we've got, Dev Diary November 2025. So welcome to the November Development Diary. As the team will be on their holiday break in late December, this is officially our last blog post for the year. There is quite a lot of text to get through in this one, so let's dig right in. So here's one of the really cool animals we'll be looking at today. So we've got Tiktaalik. We'll go into a little bit more detail about that later. But this has got a bit of a text wall, so this is going to be a little bit of a longer one, which I don't mind. But anyway, we've got the state of development. So first up, the team is trying to get Update 16 into public testing as soon as possible. While the content will be restricted and unfinished, we're aiming to start the public testing branch during December to gauge early feedback, fix bugs, and lock in a release date. Obviously, December is a busy month due to the holidays, but stay tuned as more info, and we'll do our best. So for a funding recap and a bit of a thank you, this is something from the PK team. So looking back at the start of the year, we wanted to provide an update on our financial situation. For those unaware, PK was almost entirely out of funding as of January 2025. As you might imagine, this was a very stressful time for the team, and many of us voluntarily made pay sacrifices to keep the game afloat. Thankfully, over the last 11 months, we've been able to push out game-changing updates like breeding and seamless growth entirely thanks to your support. Whether it's been through buying a copy or supporting us directly on Patreon, you have made an incredible difference and provided us with the security to keep going. And while sales do fluctuate month to month depending on discounts or game updates, the overall interest in Prehistoric Kingdom seems to be growing, and Patreon has been a massive help when making up for our dry months. So if you can spare it, we will forever appreciate supporting us there. Truly, thank you for all so much for your help, the PK team. So yeah, I had followed that a little bit, and obviously that's really, really sad. But the Patreon, I'm glad it's worked out, and I'm glad there is general interest coming around. When I first I donated quite heavily on the Patreon to get some things there, but I also donated afterwards to help support the game because really I believe a lot in this game, and yeah, it's basically a game that I've wanted forever, and I know a lot of people really want a game like this. And I believe in the team. I know the team, and they are clearly passionate. You don't take pay cuts if you're not passionate. They really want this game to succeed, and I'm glad that they can get all the help they can. And I'm actually considering maybe doing the Patreon if my finances allow it. Obviously, there's a lot of things that come before supporting an indie video game, but who knows, maybe I can spare a few dollars here or there. But that's cool. Really, really awesome to see that everything's succeeding and everything's going well. So that's really cool. But anyway, we've got update 16. So we've got a couple new species for the Vivariums. So new species for the Vivariums. This is Yi. We love Yi, and Yi is basically a wyvern. Well, it's really a dinosaur from China, but instead of using feathers to glide, the wings are made from a bat-like membrane, and you can see inside its mouth it is a set of needle-like teeth that love to munch on insects, kibble, and the occasional finger. So you can see here we got Yi Chi, really, really cool animal. Was discovered I think 2015 or something like that. Really, really took the paleo world by storm because it was actually, there was All Your Yesterdays, which was a art kind of thing about reimagining dinosaurs, and they predicted a Sanskaropterid, which is what Yi is, with a wing membrane like that, and then they actually found Yi Chi, and that confirmed it. So it's really cool how sometimes people just thinking outside the box, and then they actually find they find it in the fossil record, which is amazing. So that's really, really cool. So the first concept art of this fluffy fellow was drawn all the way back in 2021. With Yi originally intended to be part of the early access roster. We even had Nigel record lides for it, but due to the difficulties that came with the original Mini Avery, Yi was shelved until now. But revisiting the original concept was a real treat. So you can see this is the older concept, and this is just the updated one. So very similar, But yeah, you can see it's a lot more detailed and fine, and it looks amazing. I really love how they did the feathers and everything. It really came out wonderfully. And then you can see here a little bit of Andy and Cock of the Rock, I think, going on there. And you can see this is it in game. The feathers look amazing on it. And that kind of, the colors on that make it almost look like, there's sun shining through it. It's like slightly translucent. So that's amazing. But yeah, we've got another one as well. So we've got an aerial. This is an aquatic. So for a long time before the dinosaurs, Tiktaalik was one of the oldest animals. Is one of the oldest animals coming to prehistoric kingdom. This fish is what is considered to be a transitional species, so a link between land and water. Using its surprisingly sturdy legs and muscular body, guests love to watch Tiktaalik propel itself onto the shores of their vivarium. It may not be graceful, but it sure is fascinating. So this is a really, really cool animal here. Everyone jokes it's grandpa, and they've done a really great job giving it life. Beautiful colors, beautiful texture, just a beautiful thing. One of the best reconstructions, and it's all just for a video game. So that's what's really, really cool. You can, if not on land, you'll commonly catch Tiktaalik below the surface, exploring its aquatic domain. It's great exercise for grandpa. So let's have a little look there. Let's start from the beginning. Oh. So you can see he swims more like a crocodile than a fish, to be completely honest. And this is, an early ancestor to a lot of the tetrapods, so eventually would become us. And you can see he has a swim, then he hides under the log, just chilling. Cool behaviors, really gives him a lot of life. Really, really amazing. And those beautiful colours, man. Those beautiful colours are just amazing. Love the patterns. PK really knocks it out of the park with their designs. Amazing. And this is not final, so it's all work in progress. Making a home. So this is actually a little bit more about the design and stuff. So since vivariums are quite a small space to build in, we've designed a system to allow players to quickly add and remove nature pieces with a couple of clicks. Depending on the chosen environment, there are a variety of nature presets that can be made more or less dense. These options can be freely mixed and matched, and even include Mesozoic plants if they've been unlocked. If you're not happy with how the items have been placed, you can even set or randomize the Vivarium seed, redistributing your nature pieces. And of course, if you're more of a sandbox builder, you can always turn off the generated nature, or simply just add your own touches on top of it. So they're really expanding the creativity that you can do with it. So let's go back here. So they started with the rainforest. So you can see you got the sliders there. Similar Planet Zoo in that regard. You got the sliders, but there's the different degrees. There's 1, 2, 3. So you can have a little bit of rocks, some rocks, and lots of rocks, or lots of ferns. Some ferns on very few ferns. So there's kind of degrees to it, as you can kind of see there. But of course, you can randomize it. As you can see, look, you can literally randomize it as well, which is really, really cool. It's a really awesome way, I think, to really generate something really awesome really quick, which is obviously amazing. Definitely a big fan. But then also, if you want to do something yourself, you can just go in and put it in. When it comes to enrichment items, though, these can be toggled within the same menu. Each vivarium comes with its own predetermined enrichment spots that add new locations for your animals to explore. For example, your Compsognathus can jump onto logs, and your Microraptor can glide to climbing frames. So you can see this is Archaeopteryx in here. Have a look at the Aviary type vivarium. So you can see it's got lots of ropes and stuff. Actually, there's these ropes and platforms and things would be perfect if you wanted to put in little monkeys and things. But you can see you've got a bird box and a little tree there for them to perch on, which is really cool. And then you can see this is a different version as well. So this is probably likely for some more land animals. You can see you've got a basking spot, some logs, and some stuff there. And then we've got the last one for an amphibious. We've got kind of here, Tiktaalik swimming around in there. Sorry. And you've got, that log there. And a lot of these images, as you can kind of read here, see, all vivariums above was made using a mix of hand placement. So people going in and putting them decorations in themselves, or they had it auto-generated. So that's really, really cool if you want to put your own decorations. And it makes it just easy to build, and I think that is amazing. So on top of our favorite, one of our favorite items is the arboreal tree. When disabled, this perch looks more like something you'll see in a real zoo. Turn on, however, and your flyers are right at home. The vibe is up to you. So you can see there. Um, in terms of how that looks something that you'd just find in a typical zoo. Um, but this one is a little bit more realistic and adds a little bit more perches and things. So really, really cool kind of contrast and comparison as well. And we should also mention that all of these enrichment items will be available as separate decorative modular pieces. So if you want to put something like that in an enclosure, you can do what you like. So that's awesome. So yeah, really awesome the creativity, but what about some management stuff? So so after all that, Vivariums are almost done. We're currently working on the management side of things and are animating the remaining species. We really like how the system turned out and love its flexibility, especially when it comes to things like null styling and enrichment. And to finish off their customization, players can also change the Vivarium's light color. So this is perfect for making reptile houses or nocturnal houses, and we can't wait to see what you do with them. So you can see, um, this looks like something like my job, because we know we have a kiwis, and we have them in nocturnal houses. We could definitely change the colors, make it like moonlight, or as you can see, red light they often use, just because it's a bit easier to see in red light. Um, really see you can make it look like it's indoors, like a nocturnal house or reptile house. So that's amazing. Um, but yeah, that's enough on the enrichment, and I mean the Vivariums. Next, we've got vets and diseases. So diseases and ailments can come in a variety of forms. There's over 25 conditions, each caused by things such as weather, poor habitats, or worsening sickness. Some examples include the common cold, a contagious disease potentially contracted from weather or swimming. Silicosis, which is particularly caught in the lungs, caused by a lack of plants in the habitat. Round wounds, which is contracted by eating contaminated feeders. Plant toxicosis, by eating plants in the wrong era. And mites used from dirty bedding. So I really like that a lot of these are tied to husbandry. I think that's really, really cool, because obviously you're going to get these issues if you don't do that right. If you don't change the bedding, if you don't make sure what the right plants are in the enclosure, that could cause an animal to get sick and die. And most diseases can be treated early by stopping them development into something much worse, e.g. the common cold into pneumonia. But for this, you'll need a special type of staff member, which is the vet. So identify and deal with diseases in the park, players will need to hire vets. Their primarily task is to walk around and automatically survey habitats, alerting players to issues as they arise. If an animal becomes sick and they have not recently been surveyed from a vet, the player will not be aware that something is wrong until the next survey. And despite this, many illnesses will show physical symptoms such as sneezing, skin irritation, lethargy, and frequent droppings. So I like that it's not just a menu telling you, there's actually visual signs. So you could be looking over your park and then you'd be like, oh, okay, there's something going up with my animal. So I think that's a really cool way, because honestly, that's how real zoos work. I do health checks sometimes at work, and you look over the animals and you're like, oh, okay, that looks off. You do a quick health check. Just looking, just a visual health check usually. You just look over it and see if anything looks off. But yeah, that's a really, really amazing thing, to be honest. Despite this, many increases will show physical symptoms such as sneezing, skin irritation, lethargy, and all that. If the player notices or thinks something is wrong, they have the option to manually call a vet to visit the animal. So that's quite cool as well. I would like to see limping, like if it's potential injuries. I think limping would be quite cool as an easy visual way to tell if an animal's injured or, having some issues. But of course, that's another animation and stuff that might be a bit overboard. But when a disease has been found, we'll have a look at the menu first. So health afflictions, Gary the T-Rex. Last medical survey 2 months ago. No issues detected by Nathan. And then you can see he's starting to get a bit sick. He's got gastritis and mites. So it's kind of a bit of a worry. Okay. That's the concept art. Sorry about that. That's the concept art for the vet. Okay, so when a disease has been found, vets will medicate animals from a distance or sedate them and use a new medicine resource to treat them in the field. A sick animal cannot lose its survey status until all its issues have been cured. And preventing disease. So, the best cure for disease is prevention. So as vets inspect your habitat and vivariums, they'll also check the cleanliness of any feeders, water trough, and bedding within the area. The less spread out the modules are in the area, the quicker this process will be. So dirty modules are a potential source of disease, and if they're found, keepers will be called in to clean them. In the case of feeders, food will be completely thrown out and replaced if a disease is identified. Good idea. Players can also add supplements to feeders by using their medicine delivered by vets. Once ingested, animals will receive temporary buffs depending on what the player has enabled. So I quite like this idea as well. So these buffs include vitamins. Animals are more resistant to getting sick, increased immunity and growth speeds, kind of, just to help them out a bit. Steroids. Animals heal faster from light wounds, increased vitality and growth speed. Will be useful for competitive species like Triceratops once combat is added. So basically, because of species fighting around and get injured a lot, it kind of just helps them recover better and gives them a good hand. Mating booster, that increases courtship during the breeding season. So just allows more animals will be courtship and breeding more. Mating suppressant, so decreases courtship. So kind of just usually it's done through food. So to kind of just make sure animals, are not going over the top. We don't want too many babies. Just give you some control. But also the mutagen. So this increases the chances and intensity for mutations from parents to offspring. So that includes wider variation in genetic immunity, fertility, and random skin. So basically just kind of adds more variety and, adds intensity mutations. You might have an animal that's not very fertile, and then you add this mutation, you might have a very fertile animal, which is interesting. And random skins, of course, so that'd be cool. So it's a lot more random. To compensate for these changes, the growth speed of animals will be lowered across the board, or the courtship chances will be more varied per species, so I quite like that as well. And another part as well, we've got that for research and quarantine. So while vets can deal with basic illnesses right away in the field, some advanced ailments might need the player to explore new treatment options. The first start is by researching the quarantine bay, a module that's required to treat certain things like bird flu, sepsis, or even eventually in Update 17, broken bones. So very similar to how it is in Jurassic World Evolution. Once an animal has been moved to the quarantine bay, it will give your vets a sterile place to work while also protecting nearby animals from any contagious disease. The quarantine bay must be stocked with medicine in order to treat animals. So you can see that's the placeholder model, and you can see a young Rex there. Very interesting to see what it's going to look like with a bloody sauropod in there. That's going to be hilarious. But anyway, as you can see, all the mid to late stage illnesses either must be researched to perform treatments in the field or entirely rely on the quarantine bay. To prevent the worst from happening, you want the vets to have available, habitat spotless, and the research tree completed. So this is the research tree for illnesses and stuff. So you got to make sure to be onto it. So there's issues there. You can have a quick look. I'm not going to go through all the diseases and stuff. But yeah, really, really cool. So now we're kind of getting to the end and talk about what's going to happen next year. So since this is our last dev diary for the year, we want to briefly talk a little about 2026. If you've been keeping up with the roadmap, you'll know that after Update 16, Prehistoric Kingdom will have 2 major updates away from full release, so they're pretty close. You're on the tail end now. There are a few features here and there that have yet to be revealed, but the biggest headlines for next year will definitely be hunting, combat, and breakouts. So, if you're a big fan of your Jurassic World Evolution, you just want your animals to just break out and be menaces and fight each other and kill each other, this is going to be the update for you, so that's quite cool. The remaining updates are going to be substantial and very time-consuming, but they'll finally bring all the pieces together. But at the end of 2026, PK should be mechanically complete. So hopefully by end of 2026, we should have early access, leave early access, or be close to it. But in terms of next year's roster, it's finally time for Stegosaurus. So this is a Jurassic classic that will be available in 4 different designs. 2 for Stegosaurus stenops, which is the species here, and Stegosaurus ungulatus. And we can't wait to show you how the others look. So this is really, really amazing, really, really awesome skin for a Stegosaurus. And, you can't have a game like this without Stegosaurus. But we've also got here, to complement its complementary predator, Allosaurus will be stalking its way into the game. This ferocious predator will have 4 different alt species, each with proper skull shape to make it one of the most diverse and deadly animals in Prehistoric Kingdom. So this is, of course, here, Stegosaurus. It's actually going to have slightly different proportions than the concept art a little bit. As there has been some updates on Stegosaurus proportions and things, which is interesting. But yeah, we've got Allosaurus. So I don't know how exactly they're going to cover the species, because there's Europus, I think, might have been lumped. So there would be Europus, Fragilis, Jimansoni, which includes Big Al, and then you've got Allosaurus anax, which is the really big one, which was formerly Saurophaganax. So I'll see how that's kind of added in. But 4 new skins, you can't get mad at that. I think they'll be mostly different by skull shape and size. But anyway, really, really cool. But yeah, it's the community spotlight. So that's actually some really awesome art. This is by jcock1115. Really, really awesome. That's an awesome render. You've done amazing, and that shows how awesome the PK Spinosaurus is. Really great job. Another really great bit of art. Reptile de Chalon, or Charon's lizard, Chinosaurus. So this is one of the species there. Really, really awesome. I love how they managed to change it to actually look more like the species. The old species have gotten a bit of love. This is by Sir Yapito. And we've also got here a little bit of artwork by Errant. This is the Leonosaura with its cute little baby. I love the painterly feel of this one. Really, really cool. But anyway, let's finish that up now. So thank you for reading November's Development Diary. And once again, thank you so much for your support over the past 12 months. You keep PK alive and helped us create our biggest year yet. The Dev Diary will return in January with our roadmap for 2026, outlining what we hope will be an even bigger year filled with things that you've been begging for. So combat, hunting, management improvements, redacted. So a couple big things. I know rides are coming as well, so some sort of, those flat rides. I hope we get like truck tours and boat tours and stuff like that. I hope those will be coming, but it's going to be great. In the meantime, though, we'll be keeping you updated on Update 16, hopefully with some playable stuff in December. Until next time, and happy holidays, the PK team. So yeah, that's a great way to end off the year. Really, really love the Vivariums. I'm really excited to have a good go at them. Vivariums are going to be amazing. Don't know what happened there, but anyway, I think this is a great place, and the Vivariums will be quite cool as well. Some new species coming as well. So yeah, it's going to be amazing. So yeah, I really, really, really hope you guys have enjoyed this video. Hope you guys like and subscribe. Always click the little bell icon to get notified about anything. See if you guys enjoyed this video. Hope you guys like and subscribe, and bye-bye.